A lot going on. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. We got breaking news. We got NFL Week 10 rolling on with a prime time matchup. Eagles and the Packers going down in Green Bay. A lot to discuss. Award season starting to take a peek, starting to unfold right before our very eyes. Hello, everybody. I'm Sean Brace. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, joining me here on a Monday. And moving forward, I would like to believe that this is going to be us on Mondays because I do like this spot right here, 1 o'clock Eastern. Coming to you live from Las Vegas. You know him, you love him. And, man, he's got a big smile on his face because the AFC East is up for grabs. Who knows? It's anybody's game at this point in time, my kid. Jeff Parles. Jeff, how are we doing today, sir?
Sean, it is awesome to be with you here today. It is going to be a heck of a time. We're going to be here as many Mondays as we can in this time slot. We have a live studio audience on your end here today, Sean. So we're
ready.
We're going to be in great shape. And you know, it's great that the first time you and I do this, we got, of course, I'm a New York guy, not a Giants fan, which the big news just popped up that they're going to be looking for a new head coach after yet another train wreck in Chicago yesterday.
Yep.
And you got as big of a game as we could have asked for at this point of the season coming up and featuring your Eagles tonight in Green Bay.
Yeah, the breaking news is Brian Daboll is finally out as the Giants head coach, which, believe it or not, Jeff, this will be the sixth interim head coach for the New York Giants since 2016. That was once a proud franchise. That was once a team that you looked at the NFC East as, yeah, that's the standard. And even though they had their lucky years, I get it, whatever people want to say about Eli in those 2 seasons, still, they were always consistent. They were always a team that people looked at, and maybe it wasn't the way they should have been viewed. Maybe the Eagles should have been viewed because they were a little bit more consistent when it came to winning, especially in the 2000s and beyond. But, man, it's really interesting to see how flat the Giants have fallen. And they had an opportunity to get it right last year by removing Daboll and the general manager, Joe Schoen.
Joe Schoen, yeah.
Just get rid of both of them. You got the quarterback, but here they are now. And we'll see how this one plays out. Similar to the Chicago Bears, where it's like, fire the general manager, keep the coach. Keep the coach, fire the general manager, or, vice versa. So we'll see how the Giants handle it, but Daboll out.
You know, so by the way, this will be my first of 2 media appearances today. I'll be on ESPN Las Vegas this afternoon as well to talk about this more. That's the one beauty about being in Vegas. Even with having our own team, Sean, we can really make it more national because we have so many people from outside the city in the market. So I was actually talking to my dad about this yesterday, and another friend of mine. Speaking to my dad and one other friend, of like, hey, when the rookie quarterback looks as good as Jackson Dart has looked through the first few starts of his career, it's a little bit of a risk when you get rid of the head coach, especially when the rookie quarterback has looked as good as Dart has. Now, yesterday, Dart has been playing with fire with the concussion protocol for his entire tenure in the league. I mean, he's been in the protocol 4 times. He finally gets diagnosed with a concussion yesterday. We know that no one in the Giant organization trusts Russell Wilson at this point. But
Where's Jameis?
Yeah, that's another question, right?
Where's
Jameis other than in the locker room? The Giants have 4 losses this year when they've led by 10 or more in the fourth quarter. The rest of the NFL doesn't even have that many this year. So it has been an abject mess. The Giants, I think the organization has been left without a choice, especially after I don't know how much you were paying attention to that game. Brian Daboll kicked an 18-yard field goal in that game. Like, they kicked an 18-yard field goal up by 7. Chicago had 12 men on the field, and Daboll didn't decline the penalty. He actually, didn't take the penalty, declined the penalty, and just put the points on the board. It's like, you know what? I kind of get it that you don't trust Russell Wilson, but come on, the ball's at the half-yard line. Just freaking QB sneak and get in the end zone, go up 2 touchdowns, make it impossible almost for Chicago to win the game in regulation. If you lose the game in overtime at that point, then you have another discussion. But, man, Sean, everything you said was 100% right. This was when I was growing up, like, even with again, like the Jim Fossil years, you got one Super Bowl appearance. You had a little bit of a mess until Coughlin got in there. But look, Tom Coughlin, every single week, you knew what you were getting out of this team. They were going to be disciplined. Eli Manning's turnovers are really the only thing that you could see of like, all right, undisciplined play. You're going to have a good defense. They're going to have a good pass rush. I mean, when Coughlin in his last year in 15, everyone couldn't wait for him to go. And then since then, you said it, like six coaches in not even a decade now since Coughlin was let go. And for a franchise that was the standard of the National Football League for 40 years, 50 years, they're a joke. And I don't know what the right move is next, other than you better hire some offensive mind to coach Jackson Dart moving forward.
Yeah, he's got to figure it out too as well, that you cannot take hits. Look, Jalen Hurts last year, I think it finally hit him to the point that like you can't take that hit. Jalen Hurts ended up getting hurt in that game against the Commanders, and I feel like that's totally changed his dynamic as far as running the football when he breaks out of the pocket. Jackson Dart is fantastic with his legs, bunch of touchdowns, but if you're not available, what are we doing here? It's fourth possible concussion. It's just like, wait a minute, what's going on right now? So that coach, for my money, won't have the option of playing Jackson Dart. Just sit him down. Just don't even play him for moving forward. I know that there's still a half a season, easier said than done, but you're without Neighbors, you're without Scadaboo. There's a lot of questions right now around that Giants team. One that I think they have answered right now is the quarterback. Keep him healthy. That's your number one concern. So don't play him moving forward. We'll see how that one shakes out, though.
It's interesting because you have the quarterback in place. You have the left tackle in place. So you have the two most important positions on the offense in place, because when Andrew Thomas is on the field, he's awesome. It's just a matter of him being on the field. Neighbors, again, it's only been a year and a third, but we believe he is a high-end receiver. Again, running backs are replaceable, but if Scadaboo can come back at all and even be remotely close to form, you got the guy. And then you have an elite pass rush. Like, in theory, the Giants have all the pieces to be the next team in the division to push Philadelphia, especially if the Commanders have no interest in improving that defense. But look, you got to get that coaching hire right. I don't agree with you with sit down Dart for like 2 weeks, but then like, hey,
it's too many games.
Get it through your mind. Like, you can't be too reckless. And you're right, that Hurts game last year, he's played in a totally different style since that concussion game against Washington on the road last year. Yeah, look, there are a lot of questions moving forward. Who's going to be the GM for the Giants? Obviously now who's going to be the coach, but they have the important pieces. It's a job that, look, Tennessee's open. Even though I like Cam Ward, that's a team that's so far off. There's going to be other jobs that are open. There's an argument to be made, regardless of what else is open, that the Giants are the best job that will be available this offseason because what's in place already there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, there's one too many games for him to sit the rest of the season, but I think the point remains the same. It's like you got to keep him healthy. I don't care if you have to sit him. I don't care if you have to tell him, "Hey, man, we're going to hand the football off. You're only going to throw screen passes." I don't know, but you cannot allow him to take another concussion, because then slowly but surely we're going to be entering into that Tua conversation. And I'm sick. I don't even want to get into that because nobody else cares. Nobody cares. The guy's laying lifeless on the field. It's like, nah, he can come back. So if that's the way we're going to approach concussions, so be it. With that being said, let's talk about some winning football on the field from week 10. Jeff Parles with me here on a Monday. Electric. We got a lot to discuss. And of course, as I said, Monday Night Football preview coming your way for all you Birds fans, Packers backers out there. Week 10, Jeff Parles, a lot of action to remain in the NFL season. But how about this tweet from Stuckey over there at the Action Network? He caught my attention with this one. Jeff Parles, if the AFC playoffs started today, your overall 1 seed in the AFC would be the Indianapolis Colts. No surprise. Broncos 2, Pats 3, Steelers 4, Chargers 5, Bills 6, Jags 7. Now look, it's November 10th. The playoffs don't start today, and we know what's on the horizon for a team down there in Baltimore. However, Kansas City, Baltimore, not mentioned if the playoffs started today. Wow, that really opened my eyes when I came across it. Long way to go. Kansas City could very well be out of the playoffs this year. Baltimore, I think we're going to be on the same page that they looked good yesterday. They're putting it together now with the Lamar returning. But that is very intriguing to the point that A, we're going to have some new blood, and B, I don't know. If the playoffs started today, who you got coming out of the AFC?
You're going to hate my answer. And I
Uh-oh.
think everyone listening is going to hate my answer. I know they're on the outside looking in. But if you made me pick today who I have representing the AFC in the Super Bowl, I am not hesitating. It's the Kansas City Chiefs.
So you're going with KC, not
I still
mentioned.
think it's KC. Now, it's not going to be, if they lose this weekend at Denver, and I don't think they will. I think they're going to go to Denver. I think the Broncos are on borrowed time right now. They've been very fortunate during this stretch. I just don't see Denver being able to beat KC this week. But if the Broncos win, then this is a whole totally different discussion when we're back here a week from today. But Kansas City's offense, look, Mahomes is having as good of a year as he's had, even though he just is coming off that awful game in Buffalo. The wide receiving core, now that Rice is back and healthy, looks like a formidable bunch. I still have questions on their running back situation. I still have questions on their offensive line. But this is still a team, defensively speaking, that I think is still a top flight defense. They haven't shown it consistently all year, but you still have number 15. You still have Andy Reid. They would be my pick as of right now. If you're looking at the new blood, so Sean, I'm going to ignore Jacksonville. I think like yesterday is a season killer. The way they blew that game to Houston.
Oh my goodness, terrible.
You're up 19. You give up 26 points, and you get outscored 26 rock in the fourth quarter by Davis Mills. Like, that's a season killer for Jacksonville to me. I don't buy I do think the Ravens will hop the Steelers, but I don't buy them long term. I just don't think that defense is good enough. I think they just had a few good games against not good offenses, and JJ McCarthy is still essentially a rookie. But if we're looking at the new blood, the Broncos, the Patriots, and the Colts, I buy New England the most. I buy New England the most of those three. Drake May for me, and finally, the books have finally moved this. I don't know why Josh Allen was a favorite until this past week. It didn't make much sense to me. They finally made Drake May and Matthew Stafford the two favorites today, which is what I think it should be. It should be one of the two of those guys as of now. Vrabel, it was such a gigantic improvement at head coach from Gerard Mayo, and honestly, the end of what Bill Belichick was at the end of his tenure in New England. And May has taken this quantum leap forward where, look, he still made a few mistakes yesterday. He threw that horrible interception in the end zone that kept Tampa in the game. But for me, I buy New England the most of those three because I like May the most of those three quarterbacks. Danny Dimes has been awesome this year, but I still don't buy him long term. And Bo Nix, I'm not even sure Bo Nix is good still. Like, I think that's just Sean Payton more so than anything. So of the new blood, and if we're going to have, in all honesty, if we're going to have a non-Kansas City in the Super Bowl, I actually think it's the Patriots, as crazy as that may seem to everybody out there. I don't buy Buffalo. I think they're soft. The Chargers, at some point, not having Slater and Alt is going to hurt them against high-end competition. And again, I don't buy Baltimore. Even though I think they'll win the North, I don't buy them. I just don't think they're anywhere near as good as we thought they were going to be.
Yeah, if Baltimore runs the table and wins the North, I think I might be having a different discussion. But right here, right now, to what Stuckey's question, or to putting that tweet out there with the teams that were in that conversation, yeah, I would probably lean towards the Patriots as well. I think Vrabel is putting on a masterclass right now, and I believed in Drake May. I believed in Trevion Henderson, no doubt, but I didn't think he would be having the bust out past game that he did. I didn't know if he was going to get too much PT. Other than that, like, okay, they had a couple tight ends. I just didn't think they had the pieces in place on offense to put it together for the Patriots this season. But, man, they've hit the fast forward button pretty hard there, and I think it all starts at the top with Vrabel. Vrabel is a heck of a coach. He's really got the culture, really's got the Patriot backers believing again. So I'm right there with you. It starts with the quarterback, but of course the coach right there, head coach, quarterback combo. I would back the Patriots out of anybody, but it's hard not to think that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be back in, making a run at another Super Bowl. I think I tweeted 3 weeks ago that the trilogy is back on. And then all of a sudden they lost the game, and it's like, all right, is it that? But what's their record? 5-4? Aren't they 5-4? Like, how many more times can the Kansas City Chiefs afford to lose? And then they're really in no man's land, and they won't be in the playoffs.
It's a good question, Sean. I think 10-7 is enough to get a wild card in this AFC.
Okay.
They have to remember they have to be a game ahead of Jacksonville. Like that win on that Monday night for the Jags was so huge in every which way. But you look at Kansas City here. They still have Denver twice. They still have the Chargers. They play Indy in 2 weeks, by the way. Big game in Kansas City out of absolutely nowhere going into the year. Their schedule isn't the easiest because of 4 games against current playoff teams. But the other games, I mean, they'll score 45 points on Dallas on Thanksgiving. They'll beat Houston in KC. They'll beat the Titans in Nashville, even though they've had their issues in that city in the past. They'll beat the Raiders here in Vegas. It's just a matter of finding a way in those 4 games against the playoff teams to go 2-2, and then all of a sudden you're 11-6, and 11-6 will be more than good enough to get you.
Yeah, 11-6 is a hell of a season.
11-6 might win the West, in all honesty, still, Sean.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I thought that it was going to be a trilogy 2 weeks ago, as I said, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. I put that tweet out there when there was a lot of people questioning if the Kansas City Chiefs going to be back in it. And I said, man, I hate to make you all sick, but I think we're going to have a 3-peat performance here between the Chiefs and the Eagles. I still will believe in it, still will hold steady. We'll talk more about the Eagles in just a second here with the Monday Night Football preview. But ultimately, right now, I'm having a hard time not believing that the Kansas City Chiefs won't be a part of this conversation come January. But a lot of football to be played, and including some big games coming up this weekend, as you just pointed out. Quickly on the award season, though, you did bring up the MVP market there. Drake May plus 275. I got DraftKings and PA in front of me. Stafford 3-1, Mahomes 5-1, Jonathan Taylor 6-1, Allen, and then we'll go Sam Darnold at 10-1. I still believe that the guy that is not being mentioned in those top couple right there at 20-1 is going to have something to be said, be said if he continues to win some football games in a tough NFC. And of course, I'm talking about Jalen Hurts. But where are you at right now? Is there a play that you would eye up? Is this a market that you will avoid because the prices have corrected themselves?
I think the prices are now where they should be. I think May and Stafford have separated themselves from everyone. I'm a little surprised Darnold is not shorter, but I don't think it constitutes a bet because Seattle still has to play the Rams twice. And by the way, Sean, that game is this week. Like Seahawks Rams is this upcoming Sunday, and it's buried in that 4:05 Eastern time slot for you, Sean, where it's going to be limited where it goes, all that stuff. It's completely insane. Thankfully, those teams playing a Thursday later this year. But it's, to me, the value has been sucked out of May and Stafford. If the Rams win it's hard because the Patriots were I thought everyone who thought the Patriots are going to be way better this year were a year ahead. I think New England is a year ahead of schedule from where I thought they were going to be.
Absolutely.
So it's hard to discount Drake. If New England wins the AFC East, especially with how gigantic of a favorite Buffalo was at the beginning of the year, it's hard to not say that May and Vrabel are going to do the double of Coach of the Year and MVP. But man, with how good the NFC West is, if the Rams somehow find a way to get the 1 seed in the NFC, that's hard to not give it to Matthew Stafford. Even though, again, the other argument is, all right, Sean McVay's the better offensive coach. Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua is a way better receiving core than what New England has. But those are the only 2 guys who think right now that I would, if I had to vote, I'd vote May 1, Stafford 2, and Darnold 3. That would be my vote. But there's really no value left in any of these guys. If you're going down the board, it's really at this point, Sean, it's Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love. And maybe Jared Goff. Those are the only 3 guys down the board that I would consider. That's another interesting one. Dan Campbell took over the play calling in Detroit yesterday.
See that?
And it looked like a Ben Johnson offense again. So I just wonder, all right, well, maybe Detroit runs the table here or loses only 1 or 2 games the rest of the year, wins the very difficult North. Getting the 1 seed could vary things. But again, if I had to vote today, May would be first, then Stafford, and then it would be Darnold at 3.
Yeah, I do have a Jalen Hurts ticket preseason, so of course I'm pulling for that, and that's understood. And I think you're right. The guys at the top, it's hard to argue against. Stafford would be my guy. I do like the Seahawks, though. We're going to get into that conversation right here, right now. Over to who impressed you the most in Week 10. For me, it's simple. I'm going Seahawks, Jeff, and my kid Lane behind me. He liked the Seahawks performance as well. Laying 7 at home against a Arizona Cardinals team that had a lot of people believing that Jacoby Brissett and, they're putting it together with Jonathan Gannon, and this is a team that could go up there and hold with the Seahawks. I figured they were going to turn into a pumpkin. That game was over about 10 minutes into the first quarter. Thank you for a few turnovers on the Cardinals offense, of course, but bottom line, the Seahawks are for real. They attack down the field, good defense. They're playing better on the road, which is scary. But I also want to say this. They haven't been able to figure out the run game. If they can get more consistent there, watch out for the Seahawks. Most impressive team from Week 10 for me yesterday, Jeff Parles, Seahawks. Where you go with that one?
Did you have DeMarcus Lawrence 2 touchdowns yesterday? Did you have that?
Damn.
I mean, what kind of price?
This one guy I follow on Twitter had it. He said in his Discord it was there, and I didn't get it. No, I kid.
So there are a few candidates for me. Seattle's one of them just because of how badly this is 2 weeks in a row where they've had arguably played the best first half of anybody in the NFL. Like what they did to Washington the previous Sunday night and then the Arizona. Just McDonald's a star, man. Like McDonald is a star. Usually in this era, the defense guys first, I don't think are as successful because of what the league is. But man, McDonald is a star as the head coach of the Seahawks. The other two choices for me are between New England and the Rams, because I thought New England was going to lose yesterday. Even with all the injuries on the Tampa side, I thought I was like, all right, Tampa's off a bye. New England's on this massive winning streak. This is a very difficult place to play still, just with the weather that was going on and all the humidity that New England historically does not play well in the state of Florida. We know their bad history in Miami, even with the win earlier this year. But that showed me a lot, that going on the road, winning that game against a good Tampa Bay team that's going to win their division going away, that impressed me. But the winner is still the Rams. This is a team that the Rams lost to the 49ers earlier this year in what was the beginning of the survivor carnage that occurred in this season. But the Rams went on the road, and I don't care that the Niners are eviscerated. They're still one of the better coached teams in the NFL, with Shanahan on the kind of calling that offense, and then Saleh as a coordinator is as good as they come. And they put 42 on him yesterday. And you have Seattle up next week. Stafford, it was just a workman-like mentality, a workman-like effort. I'll say the Rams were the most impressive team just because the opponent was better than what Seattle did, and it was on the road, and it was in a division. And really, even with that loss to the 49ers, you kind of put the 49ers to rest as a division candidate. I still think they'll be a playoff team, but you put them away as hey, they're probably having a chance of winning the NFC West, and it's down to the mano a mano of Seattle and LA, which will get those two matchups through the rest, one this weekend and one in early December.
You got to lean for me for this weekend between those two teams, since the most impressive for me was Seattle. For you, LA, 3-point spread. LA at home favored, 425 kick on Sunday. You got to lean because I'm taking the Seahawks. I like the Seahawks.
I would take the points. I would take Seattle on the points if you're giving me a whole 3. This feels like a field goal game one way or the other. Seahawks have been amazing on the road, as we know, and they're undefeated away. They just have been dominant away from home, which is just a complete opposite of what that franchise's DNA has been through its existence since Lumen Field is open. I'll take the 3. If it gets sub 3, it's probably a stay off for me more so than anything, Sean.
All right, Jeff Parles, let's get on over to Monday Night Football. Let's go. We got the Pack. We got the Birds. Right now, 1.5. Philadelphia Eagles are catching. Green Bay favored at home. 45.5 is your total in this one. I'll tell you what, I could see the Packers having a little bit better of a game defensively and therefore making life difficult for the Eagles, especially running the football. It hasn't been there this year. But, man, anytime you count this Eagles team out and say, you show me something, they step up to the plate and do so. And, oh, by the way, off of the bye week, all the new pieces added. there are a lot of reasons why I do like the Eagles to win this game today. Removing my bias, if you made me make a selection, I just think the Eagles are the better football team and they're going to come away with the victory here. Your thoughts, though?
This is the hardest game of the week by far for me because Green Bay is coming off of such a horrendous loss. And Carolina, again, I wish I had bet New Orleans yesterday because I thought that was a weird spot for Carolina finally being a favorite. And they, of course, lose outright to Tyler Shuck. But Carolina went to Green Bay and beat them last week. Jordan Love was just that whole game was so screwed up from the Packers last week. Obviously, you lose Kraft to the season-ending injury. That is a gigantic problem for that offense because I like Luke Musgrave out of college, just hasn't shown it at the NFL level. And when you replace the most reliable pass catcher, you're having to replace the most reliable pass catcher you have, and you're going up against, yeah, I know the Eagles defense is banged up to all hell, Sean, but you're going up against a Vic Fangio defense. Ugh. Off of extra rest, no less. Man, I think this is a monster under game, Sean. I think this game is played in the teens. I think this is an ugly, not quite as ugly as what we saw last night or on Thursday, because those were pretty ugly. But this is an ugly, ugly game. I like the under. That is far and away my favorite play in this game. I think this is both teams are in the teens. Maybe someone sneaks into the low 20s. You're looking at, I saw as high as 46, but I think it came down to 45 and a half, 45 this morning. I would still go under that. And I'll take the Eagles to win the game late. I think this is just one of those where this Eagle team will find a way in a game that is pretty even in the way of the box score. Maybe Green Bay technically is the better of the box score, but I trust Jalen Hurts more than I trust Jordan Love. Sean, it wouldn't shock me if it looked like that playoff game last year, right? Like, it wouldn't shock me at all if that ends up like Philly wins 22-13, 22-10, something in that pocket here tonight, or 19, like even if it's a one-score game, like 19-17, wouldn't shock me at all. But under and a small lean to Philly. I want to ask you this, Sean. What should you expect out of A.J. Brown tonight? Obviously, this has been just a bizarre year all the way around. He was injured. He's back tonight. Extra rest after missing the game against the Giants 2 weeks ago. What the hell do we expect out of the guy who was supposed to be the number one receiver on this team?
Yeah, he's got the playmaking ability to do all of that, but it just hasn't been there for him in this season. So what to expect from him? I would totally stay away from him. I just think it's such a crapshoot with the receiving props. He's at 60+ yards. He can get that in 2 grabs, no doubt. Like, I'm not here to tell you don't bet it, but I'm going to stay away from it. I'm going to stick to the bread and butter for this offense. It's Devontae. He's the go-to guy. And of course, you get Dallas Goedert in the red zone. And oh, by the way, the anytime touchdown scorer, it's going to be Jalen Hurts. So for my money, you stick to what got you to the dance. Dance with the partner that brought you. So that's the way I look at the Eagles offense. A.J. Brown, though, we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm going to get my son to make an appearance. Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it.
He wants to get on the microphone, Jeff Parles. It's his debut. Jeff Parles, meet Lane.
Hey, Lane. Look at that.
Yeah, the mom is in Aruba for 2 weeks. Who knows? Maybe even longer after the shutdown. So daddy daycare is full throttle. My wife was like, whatever you do, you can't get a job until the end of November when your mom gets back. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So here we are. We're doing a little bit of both. I appreciate Parles being a good sport here, but we're going to be rocking out on Mondays right here on, of course, the Gambler Gang YouTube channel. I'm live on my Twitter. We'll get Parles' Twitter going as well, so we could go ahead and hit everybody on all of our platforms. But really excited about what we got cooking up here on Mondays. Starting to do a lot more, and who knows, we probably will be doing a lot more with college football rolling on. Of course, we got playoffs right around the corner. College hoops just getting started. NBA, so much to discuss. But man, there's nothing better than the NFL, especially when you get breaking news on a Monday. And oh, by the way, a heck of a Monday Night Football game between the Packers and the Eagles. So your favorite play, one more time for the people. You like the under 45.5 tonight?
I'd go under. That is the favorite play tonight for sure. I just think this is going to be a low-scoring affair tonight in Green Bay.
Lane, do you got to play? He says Lane Johnson to score a touchdown. That's what.
There we go.
I did see somebody tweet out that said, whatever you got to pay Lane Kiffin to get him to New York, you do it now.
Oh boy. It's funny. I actually think Dart was better under Dable than he was at Ole Miss with Kiffin.
You know what's funny is I forgot Dart started at USC.
Yeah, he did.
I forgot that. And then I saw it. I was like, wow, man, I forgot he was at USC before Lincoln Riley got hired. He was there.
Yeah.
Which was crazy.
They were Clay Helton.
Yes, there you go. Good pull by you. All right. Anything else from the NFL Week 10 that you want to get off your chest? One word before we get out of here today.
Yeah, I just we'll throw this into the ether because I picked the Buffalo Bills, and Sean, you know how much I despised the Buffalo Bills. I picked them before the year to win the Super Bowl. I was wrong. They are a complete paper tiger. They beat Kansas City in the regular season again. We know what they do. They win in the regular season against KC. They lose in the playoffs against KC. But what they did yesterday was just disgusting. That Miami team is dead, totally dead. And they just got pummeled. That game was really never competitive. Allen was making mistakes we haven't seen from him since they changed the coordinator to Joe Brady. They are just not that good. And Sean, I hope they get the 5 seed against Baltimore, the 4, and I hope Baltimore beats them in round 1. I hope that's what happens.
I like it. Yeah, look, the turnovers were ridiculous. Anytime they got back into the mix, it was like they turned it over some way, somehow. I want to give credit to Miami, man. I thought that team was absolutely giving up. There was some fight yesterday down there in Miami.
They fought hard, for sure. Yeah. HN was awesome yesterday, too.
Wow. So. Good grief. Is he really good? Yeah. Parles, you're the man. Where can we catch you a little bit later today, sir?
Yeah, so at Jeff Parles on the social media, I will be on ESPN Las Vegas tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's Cofield and Company, Steve Cofield, Jersey guy, by the way.
Yeah,
Jersey guy, Steve Cofield, who is to me the best radio host in the city of Las Vegas by margin. And I'm not just saying that to suck up because I'm on the show, nice. But he is. We're 6 to 9 Eastern, 3 to 6 Pacific. If you happen to be catching us in Vegas, we're live at Ellis Island, the front yard tonight. The great food, great Monday night deals. Looking forward to that. Eagles and Packers. And Sean, I'll be there the whole game because I'm screwed up by this stupid YouTube TV ESPN nonsense still.
Yeah, apparently my wife, and I don't want this to come out wrong, but my wife has had a Disney subscription that I didn't know about. And I just found out this morning that ESPN's on it, and I'm like, wait a minute. So how much is that Disney subscription that I had no idea about? That what for Gabby's Dollhouse? That's why we have it for my daughter. I don't know. Is it $20 a month? And I didn't know about.
So here's what I'll tell you, Sean. I have been using a different account with my ESPN, with the ESPN app through my television. It barely works. So like Saturday, I went out to Rampart Sportsbook out here. Our good friend Dwayne Colucci book here in Vegas, and I was there for 12 hours. And thank goodness my wife understood. Yeah, no, look, I'm in no man's land. I have the Sunday ticket through YouTube TV, so I can't cancel. I'm out $400 if I cancel. So yeah, at least I'll get $20 off my next month, Sean.
But you got to get it. They don't give it to you. You got to go ahead and enter and make sure that they'll send it to you. It's absurd.
It's ridiculous.
And then Bob Iger from Disney is joining the Manning cast today. It's like, man.
Hey, maybe he'll announce a deal. Maybe he'll announce a deal on the Manning cast. How great would that be, Sean?
It would be smart on their end to say, you know what, we're probably going to lose a little bit here in the long run, but we're taking a big hit PR wise. Let's do what's right, especially in the middle of football season. The balls on these people to do it in the middle of football.
I know. Where ESPN has like the bulk of college football, like that's what it. Like initially when it's because remember we had this with NBC and Fox earlier this year, and it's like they got it done. But now it's just like, all right, we're 2 weeks of college football where you screwed around with us. Can't do that. Can't do that in college football. We'll remember, Sean. I'll remember in January where I can cancel. I will remember that. Let's just go with that. I'll remember.
Parles, have a great show out there. Let's do it again. If not later this week, definitely on Monday next week. Lane, even though he was a good sport, he'll be held down by a babysitter, so it'll be good there. But always a pleasure, sir. Good luck in that play tonight, and we'll catch up later, man.
Absolutely. Good luck. And Sean, looking forward to doing this every single Monday. And hey, you never know. We may appear out of thin air, guys. We may appear
Yes.
out of thin air, just out of nowhere on doing these here.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to be like, yo, you around, especially with your time spot down there and the Vegas. Of course, I'm a couple hours in front. Games go final. I know I'll be catching you right at the time. Perfect
Sure.
time. Everybody will be sleeping here. So let's go. Let's go live.
Perfect.
Parles, you the man. Enjoy your show and go Birds. We'll catch up later.
Thanks, brother, as always.
All right. Bye, guys.